Hey guys, Nobody from MSR Studios here. Now, usually I do an episode of Tales of the Minnesota Railway, but iMovie doesn't really like me making long videos, so we're doing something else. Today I'm going to show you my new custom showcase of my wooden railway Stanley. For those of you that didn't know, Stanley is a Baldwin Class 260T pannier tank, the ones that served in the First World War. He worked with Duke and the other Minnesota Railway engines, but he was really reckless and often came off the rails. Until one day, the manager had enough and turned him into a pumping engine. A few years after that, Stanley broke down and caused the Cosney Howland mines to close, which eventually led up to the railway closing as well. Because of this, Stanley was eventually scrapped. Stanley actually was originally going to be in the TV series, but due to budget costs and the fact that Britt Oldcraft wasn't going to really use Stanley for anything else, they just repainted Rheneas and called him Smudger, so yeah. This model was actually made with the chassis of a 1999 Henry, which we power sawed the boiler and the cab off, used some pliers, and eventually we did get the body off of the chassis. It took a long time and it was really painful. I eventually painted the running board black, and then I painted the wheels, covered them up with a little bit of clear nail polish so the wheels won't get dented as easy. Now onto the main body itself. The cab was constructed out of some blocks of wood epoxied together, nothing really special. But since the 1999 models had this weird piece of wood on the running board, I had to use a small hand file and a groove and indents into there, which was not really hard at all. The main boiler and the side tanks were constructed out of a dowel of wood and some blocks of wood, power sawed in half. And eventually I did smoothen this all out with clay so it doesn't look too weird, so yeah. And the bunker was actually constructed out of some popsicle sticks, smoothened out with clay, and a hand file was used to make that groove in between of it, so yeah, pretty cool. Then after the clay dried, I smoothed it out one more time, and then added his 3 domes and smokestack. And then I painted the cab and the bunker and eventually the boiler and side tanks, and then put them on the chassis, and then that's pretty much it. Oh, and the number was actually painted on with using a thin brush, and his nameplate was actually made out of a label maker, which I lightly colored in gold marker, so yeah. And as for the paint job, it was painted as red, and then finally I added some light black smudges on him to show he's hard at work in like the coal mines or something. Now the face was actually a fun story. It was originally supposed to be a Tommy Wind-Up Thomas mold, which I would change the expression and stuff. But after I made the mold, it wasn't good. So I just made my own face, painted it in a light gray, added his eyeballs and this weird eyebrows. I'm planning of changing it soon, which is why it's not glued into it. It's blue tacked on. Now, what are my final thoughts on this model? Personally, I just think it's okay. There's a lot of things I can improve on it. For example, I need to fix up the wheels a little bit so they can run smoother. I might change the number and add some cab detail. Oh, and the face, of course. I really hate the face. But for this being my first wooden railway custom, I think it's amazing. I really like this custom. I like how it turned out. I like how it's perfectly to scale for the other narrow gauge engines. So, yeah, I just think it's okay. What do you guys think? Comment down below what you think. And I'm also going to add a poll up at the right-hand corner so you guys can vote for what Minnesota engine you want next. So with that said, this is Nobody from MSR Studios signing off.